Hey, my friend, are you a small business owner that loves God, family, country, and capitalism? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the War Plan Briefing. My name is Joshua Latimer, and today we're going to talk about 5 lies that married businessmen believe. Now, I think there's probably way more false beliefs and misunderstandings that all of us walk around with, and it's good to check ourselves from time to time because these beliefs, these things that we think are true, or these misunderstandings on how we approach things can make or break the success we have or don't have. And for me, I've been in business for almost 20 years. In my early 20s, I remember trying to find the easy button, wandering through Barnes & Noble and Borders bookstore, looking at small business opportunities magazines and trying to find all these harebrained ideas that I could make tons of money with very little effort. And it was very frustrating because I couldn't find it because, hey, here's a clue, it doesn't really exist. But even if the thing did exist, it would have done more damage to me than help me. It wouldn't have been helpful at all. I wouldn't fulfill my purpose. I wouldn't have a ripple effect on the community, the people around me. I couldn't become the father that I wanted to be because, pain and going through hard things is what develops us, which you know that. That's why you're here. But there is 5 things I want you to consider that can help you go faster because you're not going to bang your head against the wall.
Oh my gosh.
For me, it was hard for me to take responsibility for myself. And before we get into the 5 things, is this true for you? Or do you know someone like this where when things go wrong, there's a couple ways that people deal with it. One of the ways people deal with it is they blame circumstances. They blame external factors. It's my mom's fault. It's my dad's fault. It's my high school guidance counselor's fault. It's Barack Obama's fault. It's Trump's fault. It's somebody's fault. It's an external problem. It couldn't possibly be an internal problem. No, just because it's hard that someone must be oppressing me and keeping me down. Now, that's one way to deal with it. Another way that people deal with it incorrectly is they just feel sorry for themselves. Like, oh,
why me? I knew this was going to not work. I knew it was going to fail, right?
Stop it. Get some help.
Well, if you're expecting things to fall apart, they're going to keep falling apart. There's a hint for you. But anyway, for me, I had a blame issue, but mainly I was blaming external things instead of internal things. I needed transformation.
Optimum bright.
I needed to become a different person. I didn't need, Joe Biden to pass a law that made things easy for me. But anyway, here's the first lie that married businessmen believe. They believe that they are entitled to perpetual, blind, enthusiastic support from their family. So you decide you're going to start a business. I'm talking to you if you're a man, okay? You're going to start a business. You're going to fire your boss. You're going to be your own boss, which, by the way, it's funny when you get into business, you trade one boss for 1,000 bosses, which are called your customers. But anyway, I digress. And you believe that it's your spouse's job to support you, which I agree. That's very helpful. It's very difficult to be successful when you have a weight around your ankle, or if there's negativity at home, if there's no alignment and congruence in your vision for your life, it's going to hamper your business growth in a huge way. But how long are they supposed to support you, right? Is it in perpetuity? Let me ask you another question. What if you're not delivering results? What if you are struggling? What if you're about to go bankrupt? What if you did go bankrupt? What if this is your 3rd business, not your 2nd? At what point should the person be entitled to a little bit of evidence to base their support of you on? There comes a time when you have to go club something and drag it home, where you have to produce a result and drag it home. Now, if you have a superhero mythical spouse, which I hope that you do, then they will blindly support you to the ends of the earth. But one thing I notice a lot of times when there's friction in a relationship, it's because the man has called this big shot and just continuously doesn't deliver. And this could be because he sets unrealistic expectations, or he's just not delivering results in the first place. He's not making sales. He's working on spreadsheets and strategy and thinking and reading books instead of selling stuff. You have to go sell your stuff. At some point, you have to get $1 from a customer. And it's important for your family, especially if they're not as entrepreneurial as you are, to show them the win, to show them evidence, right? Confidence is a derivative of evidence. And you need to get some dollars to get some momentum to justify the support that your spouse has. And if you are just constantly mad,
My wife doesn't support me. My wife's mean to me. My wife doesn't believe me. Boo-hoo for me.
Look, take responsibility for that. And the biggest shortcut to fixing that is producing a big result really fast. It's the easiest way to get people to become true believers in you, your abilities, and your mission is to go do it. Even if it feels like you're alone at first, you do it anyway because the evidence will drown out the negativity. The evidence will bury the insecurity that your spouse is feeling, and that falls on you, so knock that off. The second lie that married businessmen believe is that they are entitled to on-demand sex for the rest of their life. That doesn't matter if your wife has a 2-year-old and an infant and they had triplets and this is happening and that's happening. It doesn't matter if you're financially struggling. It doesn't matter if there's stress and chaos at home and your business is broken. You are just entitled to use her like your personal plaything. Well, I got news for you. That's not exactly how it works. Now, I think in our mind, we have this mythical fantasy idea of what our wife is supposed to be like. And what causes more problems than anything else in marriage is pornography. Truly, literally, and it's an epidemic. Did you know that 60% of pastors say that they're addicted to pornography? Now, these are pastors, right? No, they're just people, okay? Me, I'm not a pastor. I always joke that my spiritual gift is being a good repenter. That's kind of all I got. But I got to be honest, these things warp your mind and you place these unreasonable, unrealistic expectations on your spouse. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, there's also the ups and downs and uncertainty and volatility that comes with that. You know, for a lot of women, not everybody, but for a lot of them, in my experience, they don't want to fly their freak flag when they're stressed out beyond, when they're stressed out of their mind. So it's your job not only to produce results in the business, but to create an environment in your home by dating your wife, by having emotional connection that's not always physical with your wife, to pursue your wife just like you used to. Do you remember? Do you remember? Did you get fat? Are you letting yourself go? Are you gross? Are you dating your wife? Are you intellectually sharp? Are you impressive to her? Did you stop trying? And if you're not even trying, why do you think you're entitled to her being your little personal porn star when you're not even delivering the goods as a man? You might not like it. I get it, but that doesn't mean it's not true. The third lie that married businessmen believe is that their job is to make life easy for their kids. You know, there's this book called The Fourth Turning, and maybe actually a better way to explain it is the famous quote, maybe by Margaret Thatcher or something, I don't remember who, but it says that strong men create good times, and good times create weak men, and weak men create bad times, and bad times create strong men, and it loops around, right? I think if you look at society today, we're clearly in the fourth turning, which means these good times are creating weak men, and weak men are in the process right now of creating some bad times, which again will produce strong men again. But here's the thing. It's not your job as a father to be just a good dad. Your job is to be an effective father. And that doesn't mean giving them an easy button for everything in their life. And we live in this helicopter parenting, sanitize your hands, don't get too dirty, be careful, Johnny, don't climb the tree type of world. And a lot of people are so overprotective of their kids that they cripple them from becoming adults. You can see this in cattle and livestock, right? When you don't let animals be wild, they don't produce the right amounts of testosterone, they can't grow up in the wild, they can't defend themselves, and they become weak, they get fat, and they're lazy. And look, I'm not judging your kids or anything. All I'm saying is that our philosophy and what has worked for us is by making things difficult strategically for our kids, not handing them things. When our kids turn 16, they have to buy their own car. Woo, hashtag first world problems. We're a bad parent. We won't buy. Could I buy them a car? Of course I could buy them a car, but it's better for them to buy a car. I had a friend, Allison Prince, who's the e-commerce queen. She's done bajillions of dollars on the internet. She's amazing. And she makes her kids buy their own clothes. I think she only buys underwear and food.
Avocado! Thanks!
Once they turn 13 years old. And they have to earn money by being a producer so they can buy all the other stuff. And they go buy clothes. It matters because they're spending 25% of their net worth to get this pair of pants and the shirt, right? It's a gift to your children to give them friction and adversity, strategic, loving adversity, letting them run wild and get addicted to video games and sit there and get out of shape and have no ambition and have no personal responsibility is child abuse, in my opinion. It's literally the worst thing you could ever do, and entrepreneurs do it for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons is because you might have grown up with a really horrible life. And so because of that, you overcorrect and you want to shower everything onto your children and you unintentionally cripple them. Did you know that like 80% of lottery winning millionaires go bankrupt?
Embarrassing.
Why is that? It's because they don't have the capacity and they haven't become a millionaire internally. And so the outside world will match the inside world and the money disappears in short order. The same thing is going to happen for your kids if they don't have confidence, if they didn't have adversity, if there's no friction at all. The same thing can happen to trees. Without wind, trees don't get strong. Their root system doesn't go as deep. And all these metaphors apply to your freaking kids. So while you're building your business and you're having success, yes, you want to bless and shower your kids with gifts and with love. The Bible says it's good to leave an inheritance for your children's children. All of that is true, but don't make it too easy, or you're going to wind up with an adult that behaves as a child. The fourth lie that married businessmen believe is that money will fix everything. But it doesn't. It doesn't. It does fix some things, okay? I'm not going to be a crazy man and act like it doesn't matter at all, because it does. But that belief doesn't leave you. And so if your goal is to make six figures, eventually you're going to do it, or maybe you've already done it, and you're going to realize, I'm still internally kind of the same. I'm not that much happier. I still want more. And then you say, okay, $1 million. And then you move the yardstick in perpetuity forever and ever and ever. The problem is every time you hit the new milestone, nothing really changes internally. If you have broken relationships, throwing money at it doesn't fix it. If you have a broken business, throwing money at it doesn't fix it. It's funny. People ask me a lot of times, hey, Josh, can you connect me with an investor? Or, hey, Josh, do you invest? And they'll ask me these things. And what they don't understand is they're trying to take capital. They're trying to take money. And they're trying to throw it inside of a broken business that doesn't work at all. Now, that doesn't do anything useful. The purpose of capital, really, in a small business is to take a system that's already working and use the capital to go bigger, faster, right? But if your thing's already broken, money isn't the actual solution that you think it is. Money can buy you runway. Money can give you a little bit of time. But if you're getting into debt, or you're stacking your cap table with investors you don't need, you're just putting more and more pressure on yourself, boxing yourself into a corner. And at the end of the day, your broken business isn't going to dig out of that hole. You can fix it by being creative, by being more resourceful, probably by selling more, spending a disproportionate amount of your time networking and selling and marketing, and less time doing the little things and spit shining the little details. Look, people are so scared to just shout from the rooftops what they have for sale. You can become your own stimulus program by financing your own dreams, by going and shaking trees and making a ruckus and selling your stuff. Look, making money is great. It's great, but it's not going to do for you what you think it will. And if you're not sure that what I'm saying is true, think back of a time when you were way more broke than you are right now. And then ask yourself, how fundamentally different is it? It might be a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. And the fifth lie that married businessmen believe that's not true, or it's at least not as true as you think it is that getting validation from your peer group is like this really important thing. People get into these little cliques inside of industries. You can go to industry events and you got this group of guys that have been going to the event for 5 years or 8 years, or there's Facebook groups and people band together and they hang out, right? And they're kind of like stroking each other's ego and they're talking shop, and all that's fine. It's all good. Here's the thing though. If you're looking to impress the peers in your industry, you're kind of like missing the point for a couple reasons. Number one, they don't care about you as much as you think they do, okay? They're not like thinking about you all week. While you're worried trying to impress them, while you're worried trying to make sure your Facebook profile looks the right way so everybody in your industry thinks you're really great, and you need this validation from all these external sources, you're taking your eye off the ball of what really matters, which is being an effective father and building a business and creating wealth for your family, leveling up your mindsets and your skill sets. You can have relationships in the industry, but you can see these people at events where they're so obsessed with the status they think that they get inside their tiny little weird industry, getting, patted on the head like good little Billy from all the other, Larrys in their industry. And there's not a lot of value in it, because when it comes down to it, are these people really going to be there for you? If you're in the hospital and you're behind on your bills, are they writing the checks for you? Probably not. They will let you down time and time again, because guess what? They're doing the same thing. They're waiting for you to validate them, and you're waiting for them to validate you, and it's this weird cycle of infinity silliness. Don't do that. Instead, take what you can from industry groups, learn the information, and be a ridiculous, absurdly epic executor of that information. Keep your head down, stay focused. The irony is that some of the most successful people in all these different industries you've never heard of, because they're not hanging out at the bar at industry events. They learn, they execute, they learn, they execute, and eventually they've learned everything they could from here, and they go learn from a different different industry execute, you never heard of them, and they're doing 127 million a year. I want you to be that guy. Don't get caught up in the high school drama of whatever industry you're in. Hey, if you are enjoying these videos, if it's adding value to you, can you subscribe? I hope this is like one of the best kept secrets on YouTube, and I'm going to get better at articulating these ideas in an effort to serve you. Type in the comments what you want to see from me and where you're stuck and where you're struggling. I read every single one because there's not that many yet. And use my brain. I want my brain to help you. Anything I've learned building and selling 4 companies, coaching over 1,000 business owners. I'm an open book. If I don't know the answer, I will help you go find it. Until next time, take care. God bless. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you watched, click the video on the left to watch the previous upload. And if you want one of my personal favorites, click the video on the right. And of course, don't forget to hit the middle to subscribe so you never miss an upload. Thank you again for being on this journey with me.